Welcome to another episode of Sit with Sid. Today I have with me Mr. Kuntal Joyshir. Kuntal is a mountaineer. He's a part-time software engineer. He's a nutrition coach, as he's told me before. But the highlight that I would like to bring out today is that he's India's first vegan mountaineer who climbed Everest, right?
Uh, well, you can say that.
Yeah.
We'll
So
get to that.
I would like to know more from you. If I were to count your achievements down, that would take a lot of time. But I would like to know from you what you consider to be an ideal introduction, or what you consider to be the highlight of your 41 years of age till now.
Uh, if since you asked for an ideal introduction, I think kind of maybe a way to introduce me would be I am just a common man with an uncommon dream, and one that I've been pursuing for the last decade, and I am again pursuing one for potentially the next decade, and uh, just just a regular guy next door. Software engineer, nutrition coach, mountaineer, and another line that I use for my introduction is I am a software engineer by profession, a mountaineer by passion, and a vegan by compassion. So that's kind of who I am. But yeah,
Yeah. So,
I,
like,
I,
sorry, were you
go
going to
ahead.
say something?
No, go ahead.
So now, as I told you, I have massive respect for people like you, people who can literally take control of their body whenever they want to, because I'm like, I can equate you with athletes, because those guys also go through very hard training, and that's what you did as well. 8 years of training for one particular dream that you had, and be staying consistent. Like, that's the thing, man. Because with something like physical training, you cannot go wrong. If you go wrong just even a slight bit, you might just end up being way off. I've heard you on Ranveer Shah, and you've said that अगर एक चीज इधर की उधर हो जाती है, then it's the matter of a life. And so that's why I'm saying that I have really massive respect for you. And as we talked earlier, there might have been places like, so again, I have to set some context for the audience. So you would you like to do it? Would you like to set some context for us? Like, would you like to tell us about the first time you climbed Everest? What was the process like?
Right. Sometime in October of 2010 is when I discovered my dream of climbing Everest. Until then, I was just a regular software engineer, probably who had discovered his love for mountains and then had started climbing mountains, but smaller mountains, and just enjoying the process. And then eventually, I got to Everest Base Camp and saw Everest and fell in love with Everest and kind of made up my mind that I have to climb this mountain and kind of this dream of my life. Hi.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go on.
You just completely had your screen had completely frozen.
Yeah, yeah. But I can hear you. I could hear you. Go on.
Okay, so if that happens again, I'm just going to continue
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it was a little confusing whether you disconnected or whether you are still there
Sure,
or
sure. Yeah, yeah, sure. If it goes bad,
yeah,
I'll just tell you.
sure.
Hmm.
Sounds yeah. So uh, to kind of give you an idea from okay, so I decided that I was going to climb Everest, but at that time I knew in October of 2010 that I was not in any way ready to climb Everest because I simply did not have the background. I simply did not have any kind of training, nothing to kind of go on the journey to climb Everest. Uh, to kind of give context to everyone, I used to be about 110 kilos back then, and I used to be someone who was 40 kilos overweight, someone who was a software engineer. So I had a desk job sitting in front of a computer all day long. And then I also come from a Gujarati family, and which Gujarati do you know who has done any physical, athletics feat ever? Most Gujaratis, are known for something to do with business or, something like that. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know anyone in my family who would even climb one floor. They would take a lift to go one floor. So,
Yeah.
kind of coming from that background and then aspiring to climb Everest, I just remember coming back home and thinking this just seems absolutely impossible. Like, how am I even going to do this? And then I kind of remembered some of the words that my expedition leader had mentioned. Kuntal, to climb to the top of the world, you need a top of the world mind and you need a top of the world body. And I said, forget mind तो है नहीं, body भी नहीं है, कहीं भी नहीं है, मतलब I'm like literally starting from scratch. There is like nothing there. So, but I also have a very good engineering background. And one thing that engineers are very good at is reverse engineering something, or is kind of looking at a problem and breaking down the problem and simplifying the problem and kind of understanding the problem.
Yeah.
Probably, solving the easier parts first, maybe, keeping the harder part from later on. Again, lot depends on the
And looking
context.
at it logarithmically and seeing how it is basically
I
you
would
found
not
like a
say,
mind
I would not
map.
say logarithmic,
You find like a map, I
not even
think,
mind map. I would not
Okay.
say mind map. I would not say logarithmically. I would say more like a divide and rule approach. Like, you
Ah.
have a much bigger problem, so you kind of just divide and rule, right? To divide the problem into smaller, achievable
Hmm.
problems, and then kind of solve each problem and solve the bigger problem. So I kind of looked at the bigger overall problem into multiple problems, but not a problem.
Like
More like,
task.
hey, this is a project I want, and what can I do to kind of build that top of the world mind and body. And I said, look,
Hmm.
body is potentially the first thing that I really need to build, because it is something where a blueprint already exists out there.
Hmm.
For mental training and for mental fitness, every individual is unique and has to go on a slightly different journey and a unique journey. But for body, hey, how do you build cardio endurance? There's a
Hmm.
blueprint, there's a clear blueprint. You do X, Y, and Z over a period of time, and you will build cardio endurance. So, in that sense, I knew that, hey, I had to lose weight, I had to build superior cardiovascular endurance, I had to build some strength in my body. So, I had to do all of those things. And there were ways to do it. There were guides, there were mentors out there who could potentially help me out on this journey. So, I started off with that, and eventually I went on this journey and I climbed many mountains. I built a lot of mental fitness. We can, discuss about these things little later on. But getting to the point where about after 5 years I was ready to climb Everest for the first time. And I remember showing up for my 2014 attempt, and unfortunately 17 Sherpa guides died in that expedition, and we had to cancel the expedition because it was too risky. There was no safe route that we were able to create on the mountain. uh, and we discussed for almost 7, 8, 10 days. Everyone was there were 300 climbers from all around the world with some of the top guides on the planet. Everyone kind of trying to figure this out. Not possible. Expeditions were cancelled. We all turned around, came home. I went back in 2015, and in 2015, Nepal got hit by a 7.9 magnitude earthquake.
Hmm.
That earthquake caused a massive avalanche that ripped through the entire base camp. I was at the
Ah.
base camp.
Yeah, I saw
I
I saw that video. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Where it's like
nearly
died.
Yeah, so miraculously escaped death in that kind of 2015 attempt, and unfortunately 21 people died, 100 plus people were injured badly. Entire base camp was devastated. Like if I do a before and after picture, you could potentially look at before being like a tented city of about a
Hmm.
kilometer long on a glacier, and then after would be just debris, just flat ground, as if someone had literally bombed the place. Just gone, everything wiped off. And we were like literally lucky to kind of be alive, because 50 feet away from where I was standing, 5 people died in that campsite. So just your 50 feet difference meant that I'm alive sitting here talking to you. Otherwise I would have been dead, like really bad death. And
Yeah.
so again, I went 2 times, didn't work out. Expeditions cancelled. Mass scale destruction the second time in Nepal. 10,000 people dead. Didn't even make sense to climb this mountain anyway. In
Hmm.
this kind of circumstances when
Yeah.
it's more of a humanitarian tragedy. So
Hmm.
I remember going in for my third attempt in 2016, and I'll kind of describe you the process of how Everest is climbed. It's not as if you just show up in Kathmandu and you take a flight and you climb Everest in one day and you come back. Like, you know, how
Yeah.
we do a trek here in Mumbai, or, you know, climb a mountain in one day and come back. That's not how it
Yeah.
happens. Everest is at 29,000 feet. If I take you right now and put you on top of Everest, you will die within 5 minutes.
Yeah.
This is every single organ in your body will not have oxygen. It will fail and you will have a massive cardiac arrest and you will die. So
Hmm.
Everest is climbed in stages, and there are primarily I would divide it into 3 stages. Stage one is where you reach the base camp. It takes about 10 days of your time. First, you take a flight to Kathmandu. From Kathmandu, you take another small flight to a village called Lukla. Lukla is also known as one of the most dangerous airports in the world. If you survive that flight, land in Lukla safe in one place. Lot of
What
flights
what
have crashed
what do
there.
you mean by that? Like look like dangerous airport. I mean, what happens there?
So, the landing strip is bang in middle of a mountain. It's a very small 500-meter strip,
Okay.
and there are times when the entire strip and the entire area around is covered in clouds. There's tons of turbulence. There's potentially even a lot of rain falling, and a lot of stuff could be going wrong. And when the flight is getting into Lukla, the last 10-15 minutes, you're literally just about 50 feet away from the mountain ridges. So if there's a cloud or if there's anything that can go even up down, the pilots are literally flying blind in some
Wow.
of those kind of times. So you could just literally be crashing into a ridge just because pilot is flying blind, or there could potentially be a case where the airport is under fog and the pilot has to land, but there's no judgment how the pilot is going to land. So potentially a lot of flights have crashed due to mainly these reasons. So every flight has its own bits and pieces where there's tons of turbulence and flight like losing lot height, sometimes gaining height, and then crazy things happening. And you just always I still remember, I have taken I think about 30-35 flights out of Lukla, and every time we land stay safely, every passenger claps for the pilots. And it is so funny that we take these flights. So anyway, you land, and then about 8 days worth of walking and you are at the base camp. So that's kind of stage one. Then stage two is I think what the crux of the entire climb is, where you let your bodies adjust to the various altitudes on the mountain. Because
Hmm.
as I said, Everest is at 29,000 feet, so you can't just go and climb it. You reach 18,000 feet, which is the base camp, and then you slowly kind of get higher and higher and higher. But you also have to always come back down as you go higher,
Hmm.
because every time you gain altitude, your body is kind of going through a lot of wear and tear, and
Yeah.
you need to recover from that wear and tear that happens at altitude. So you have to
The
come back
air gets
down.
thinner and thinner, and the blood pressure has a issue. The
Not the
breathing
blood
might
pressure.
get the breathing might get tough. And
Not even the breathing doesn't get tough. So
okay.
what essentially happens is that as you get higher, the air pressure in the environment is what goes low. So
Yeah.
the amount of oxygen saturation in this room is exactly the amount of saturation on top of Everest. Most
Okay.
climbers don't know any of this stuff because they have really never taken a single lesson about science. I mean, I wish we were taught all of these things, in our science classes, but maybe we were not paying attention, or maybe we were never taught anything. But
Hmm.
it is the air pressure which is lower, which
Hmm.
also means that when the gases are exchanged on the boundaries of your lungs, you are
Hmm.
essentially just getting about 30% of oxygen actually in your blood, which is what is causing all the issues. So as you go higher and higher, your body is also going through a process called acclimatization, where it is
Hmm.
producing extra red blood cells which can carry oxygen to the blood, inside the blood, to all the organs. So
Hmm.
while the saturation in the air, the air pressure may be lower. Because of extra red blood cells, there is more oxygen carrying capacity by your body. That is what essentially happens. So as you go higher and higher, your body is building more and more red blood cells, and it is helping you acclimatize better. There's of course a lot more physiological processes that are happening in the body. I'm not going to go into a lot of details of
Yeah.
that, but this process kind of takes about 25 to 30 days, where you are climbing up, coming down, climbing up, coming down, and every time you climb up you go a little higher in altitude. You spend a few nights and then you come back down. The reason you come back down at base camp is because it's thicker air, more oxygen, you can eat better food, those kind of things. And once the stage is finished, you kind of wait for a proper weather window to open on the mountain. Everest is battered by a wind called jet stream, which stays on top of Everest for almost throughout the year, which means winds of almost anywhere between 100 kilometers to 250 kilometers per hour. This is almost like either a category 3 hurricane or a category 5 hurricane on the worst side. In the month of May, maybe sometime in the middle of May, these winds go down to almost 30 to 40 kilometers per hour. This is the time when most climbers across the world get on top of Everest and come back down. And that entire process takes about 8 to 10 days. So you have about worth almost 55 to 65 days, depending on when this weather window opens up. For example, this year, a lot of people started their climb on April 1st and they summited around May 29th. That is almost literally like 65 days,
60 days, yeah.
2 months. Yeah,
Yeah.
2 months entirely. And for me, I started my climb on April 5th and I summited on May 15th. So for
That's
me, it
like
was approximately about 40 days, and
40
then I was
days.
back, so about 45, 50 days is, when I was back home. So
Yeah.
depends, right? Every season it's kind of, different. So this is kind of, the schedule of how an Everest climb kind of progresses.
Goes.
And I was super lucky that the mountain kind of allowed me to get to the top, spend some time on the top, and let me get back down safely. Of course, there was a lot of weather that came into play. There was a lot of mountain help and everything, and then of course there's my training and everything as well. So anyway,
Yeah. So, like, when you describe the whole process as I see it, and you know, like as you said, it's a 8 to 10 day expedition. Then, like the whole process when you're climbing, it ideally takes nothing less than 30 to 40 days, and at most 60. Like there's been places where you done 60, and there are multiple points where the things are just not in your control. I mean, just right from the start, मतलब तुम्हें पता भी नहीं है कि तुम एवरेस्ट चढ़ने जा रहे हो और तुम्हारी फ्लाइट में तुम मर सकते हो. Like that's the thing.
right,
And to do something like that while not having a background of a client, मतलब अगर मैं like अगर मैं best case scenario लूँ, if I were to think logically on to see an Everest climber logically, I would say कि यार बचपन से athletic रहा होगा, and then eventually at the age of 15-20 realize किया कि नहीं जिंदगी में कुछ बड़ा करना है. Like someone like my friend Ayan. I mean, he's been tall, he's been athletic all his life, and at the age of 18 he decided that I'm going to run 300 kilometers. And but for someone like you, who, as you said, a software engineer, 40 kgs overweight, like what does it, एक ऐसे दिमाग में क्या आता है, मतलब क्योंकि like I can also say, मैंने भी जब पहाड़ देखे, मुझे भी मन किया कि यार ये पहाड़ देखना इतना बड़ा, वो इसके ऊपर चढ़ के कैसा लगेगा. ऐसा ऐसे ख्याल तो सबको आते हैं. But
right,
to go and then matlab, because I'm sure, as you said, you study a lot of science, so you know more than most mountaineers do. And उसका फायदा ये है कि you know what's the issues, and उसका नुकसान भी है what's the issues. That you're like, if
right,
I were to see even 20% of these risks, मैं उसी दिन जाके अपनी bucket list में से एवरेस्ट काट देता. तो
right.
what does it really take to, मतलब कि I would call it nothing less than crazy. I mean, I'm sorry for the wording, but I would call it nothing less than that कि उस मतलब वो एक पागलपन ही है कि ये करना है जिंदगी में. तो
Right,
वो how
right.
does that come along?
So anyone who decides to climb Everest, I don't think that person is thinking in a very rational fashion anyway. At least when thinking about Everest. While they may be rational about everything else in life, they're definitely not rational about Everest, because there is nothing rational about climbing Everest. Okay, so लॉजिक रैशनैलिटी ये सब छोड़ दो, एवरेस्ट की जब भी बात आती है वो दोनों का कोई कनेक्शन नहीं है ज्यादा इस चीज के बीच में. But to kind of touch upon multiple points that you brought up, one being that यार सब हम देखते हैं यार, हम सब पहाड़ देखते हैं, हमें सबको मन होता है. But what's the difference? How did how did I kind of go further than that? Look, when I found my dream the first time, in February of 2009, my wife and I climbed to the top of a mountain in Shimla. That was just by chance. And that, in my mind, was the pivotal or the turning point of my life. Is when I kind of fell in love with a certain kind of a feeling of climbing a mountain. And then when I eventually went on the journey to finally fall in love with Everest, the point is that for me, it became to a point where जब भी मैं घर आया, तुम नेक्स्ट दिन जाके कंप्यूटर की स्क्रीन ऑन कर रहे हो, कंप्यूटर की स्क्रीन पे है तो कोड, बट तुम्हें दिख रहा है एवरेस्ट. तुम खाना खाने बैठ रहे हो, बट खाने के प्लेट में है रोटी, बट तुम्हें दिख रहा है एवरेस्ट. तुम किसी फ्रेंड के घर पे पूरे मैं, मेरी वाइफ, हमारे सारे फ्रेंड सब मिले, सब बात कर रहे हैं, सब मजा कर रहे हैं, बट यार तुम्हारे माइंड में सिर्फ एक ही बात चल रही है, एवरेस्ट. तुम सो रहे हो तो रात भर में हमारी 5 रेम साइकिल, 4-5 जितनी रेम साइकिल हो रही है, हर रेम साइकिल में तुम्हें एवरेस्ट ही दिख रहा है. और ऐसा नहीं है कि ये एक दिन में जा रहा है, हर दिन यही हो रहा है. एवरी डे यू आर जस्ट गोइंग थ्रू द सेम प्रोसेस. आई थिंक व्हेन यू वांट समथिंग सो बैडली, at least in my case, I can only speak from my personal experience. I don't know how it works for someone else. But for me, it got to a point where I had to say that I am going to go on this journey, that there is no other way, that मेरे life में, और this is the center point, this is going to be the focus point of my life, and that I'm going to go on this journey. There's कोई दूसरे मेरे पास, there's no option there. There's nothing to fix.
Yeah, but didn't logic kick in at that point? मतलब वहां पे तो ये still making up that Everest का dream. तो वहां पे बहुत लोगों का logic kicks in and they say कि
किस चीज के साथ तुम obsessively प्यार में पड़ जाते हो तो लॉजिक सोचते हो क्या? मैंने तो I fell in love with Everest. Sure, my wife is always unhappy that I fell in love with Everest.
That's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say कि ये एवरेस्ट का पैसे बॉलीवुड का जो क्रेजी 90s ऑब्सेशन वाला लव होता है कि ये तो मेरी ही बंदी है, वैसा हो गया था. अब मैं कह रहा हूँ
तो बस मुझे ऐसा प्यार हो गया एवरेस्ट के साथ. And on a serious note, I think I truly believe that having an overarching Everest in your life is super important. I truly believe that. I think each human in this world should find their Everest or should find their calling of their life. Because when I found my Everest, it gave me immense amounts of focus and drive and passion to relentlessly pursue it beyond imagination. मुझे पता नहीं था कि that I had it in me to kind of go to this level. Sorry.
Yeah. Take your time.
So yeah, so I think that is why I truly feel that everyone needs to have that Everest in their life. Today I ask a lot of my friends who are 40, making shit ton of money more than me. I ask them, what's your Everest? And at 40, they have no Everest. So I kind of feel that, वो Everest होगा ना life में, तो यार वो passion होगा, वो I think you will feel genuinely happy, genuinely alive. There will be genuinely some purpose with which you will wake up every single day, show up and live your life fully every single day. You don't require any motivation. हर जन को किसी को मोटिवेशन है, यार मेरा सैलरी मिलने वाला है, वो सैलरी में बोनस मिलने वाला है, दे आर मोटिवेटेड बाय ऑल ऑफ दीज थिंग्स. I don't need motivation to wake up and go to the gym, go climb a mountain, go do whatever it takes to so that I can give myself the best chance to get on top of Everest. I don't need to be motivated. People are always after motivation, kya motivate karta hai aapko? I'm like, motivation is a terrible emotion to chase. It is very inconsistent, it is very temporary, it is the shittiest emotion to kind of depend on to get any work done. I do not depend on motivation ever.
You
Ever.
don't
I've
know
fallen
how
in love with
many
the process.
kids you have attacked with this, but go on.
पूरे दिन मोटिवेशनल वीडियोस बनाते हैं यूट्यूबर्स, और पूरे दिन लोग यूट्यूब पे मोटिवेशनल वीडियोस देखते हैं. आई थिंक यू नीड टू पुट इन द वर्क इन spite or despite the lack of motivation.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at.
You need to fall in love with the process.
matlab, as you said na ki you need to find an Everest in your life. I mean, if I were to use if I were to use an easy language, I would, as you said, let's call it purpose, let's call it meaning. Matlab, that's something ki jis din नहीं भी मतलब उठने की ताकत भी नहीं है ना, उस दिन भी इंसान उठ के जिम चला जाए, बिकॉज दैट्स नॉट मोटिवेशन, that's there, that's purpose. मतलब I think people generally very wrongly use the term motivation. Like if I were to look at it in a psychological sense, motivation does not come from anywhere else. It literally is intrinsic. मतलब we have motivational theories, like फ्रॉइड की अलग थियरीज हैं, सबकी अलग अलग मोटिवेशन की थियरीज हैं, एंड ऑल दोज मोटिवेशन थियरीज आर इंट्रिंसिक, लाइक दे आर नॉट एक्सटर्नल. पहली बात तो वहां पे अपन ने गेम खराब कर दी. दूसरी बात, आई थिंक व्हाट पीपल जनरली like what people maybe should not look for motivation, maybe they should look for other things, like the two other things that I can think of right now is purpose and discipline. Purpose, as you said, कि जिस दिन मन ना करे उस दिन भी इंसान उठ के चला जाए, एंड डिसिप्लिन वो रोज जाने के लिए, लाइक मतलब राइट नाउ आई एम इन माय फेज ऑफ लाइफ दैट व्हेन आई एम ट्राइंग टू डू एज मच एज आई कैन, एंड even I get this question from my peers that we are not motivated, like how do you stay motivated? I don't even think about motivation, to be really honest. I always think about what's like my biggest driver of my life at this point, I feel, is discipline in my work life. Like if I have promised Kuntal that I'm going to be here at 7, that's really discipline that's keeping me here. Because like, to tell you, at 2 or 3 p.m. today, I was feeling like shit, really bad, and I didn't even want to get up from my bed. But I had commitments that I needed to make, and I knew that that's discipline. And other than that, us din matlab, I think more for me, a lot of my life is about discipline, somewhat is about purpose. Motivation, I don't really think about it. But yeah, as you said, ki wahan pe there's a lot of discipline that's built. Or yeah, I mean, I really forgot where I was going with this. But yeah, you rightly pointed that out. So like you got started with purpose, okay? But how did you find discipline? Matlab, if I were to just generally guess ki you're a 40 kgs overweight person, you might just be less disciplined in your life, especially physically. So purpose तो मिल गया, और discipline कहाँ से मिल, क्योंकि वो बहुत difficult होता है. That's very tough to build. How do you do that?
Right. Actually, contrary to potentially me, you thinking that me, if I am, X amount of overweight, that I would not be disciplined. I think I've always been disciplined in some sense throughout my life. Possibly starting from engineering, because engineering is what made me a lot more rigorous and a lot more disciplined in some sense. But that does not mean that discipline kind of applies to every facet of my life.
Yeah, that's why I said that physically, at least, as I said, physically, that might be.
So, because there was never a goal attached. And I never kind of, attached it to saying that, hey, I'm not healthy. Because there was simply वो connection नहीं था. वो awareness नहीं था, वो ignorance था वहाँ काफी सारा.
क्योंकि सामने दिखता नहीं है ना. You don't see a problem instantly.
Correct. And plus, I will again go back to, I can only say from my experience. So I'm only here kind of sharing my experience. I don't believe in giving prescriptions to anyone.
I agree.
That is
I
something
truly
that
agree, man.
I, वो completely मैं उससे दूर रहता हूँ. इवन तो मैंने आपको स्टार्टिंग में दिया था एक प्रिस्क्रिप्शन,
Yeah, I
बट
mean,
वो एकदम ही अलग एंगल से दिया
I
था.
get it. I mean, that's coming from just expertise. I mean, obviously.
बट ये लाइक ऐसे जो मोटिवेशनल ज्ञान देते हैं ना वो लोग यूट्यूब में, तो वो उससे तो मैं दूर रहता हूँ. मतलब वो प्रिस्क्रिप्शन में मैं बिलीव नहीं करता हूँ. आई बिलीव इन शेयरिंग माई एक्सपीरियंसेस एंड लेटिंग पीपल गो होम विद देयर ओन इन्फरेंसेस एंड देयर ओन कि हाँ ये मैं इससे सीख सकता हूँ. मैं नहीं
That's
बोलने
why
वाला हूँ कि
then.
तुम्हें मेरे जर्नी से क्या सीखना है. सो
हाँ.
I will kind of again go back into my journey and share that for me having that discipline is very much attached to having a goal. Moment I had a goal, the moment I had a purpose, end of story. Why do you even need to think about discipline? मेरा goal एवरेस्ट क्लाइम करना है. I am going to do everything under my control to give myself the best chance to succeed to get to the top. End of story. बात वहीं खत्म हो गई. If I am not showing up day in, day out and putting in the work, that means that is not my Everest. I need to, find something else. So once you have found your true Everest, this is again my opinion, my experience. For me, when I found my true experience, I found that discipline, I found that consistency, and eventually, over the period of time, a lot of this has evolved, and I no longer require that overarching dream to stay motivated or like intrinsically motivated or stay kind of on track or stay kind of consistent or just show up and do the work. I don't require a dream for that. I don't require a target for that, because my end goal is now no longer climbing an Everest. My end goal is just becoming a better version of myself. Heck, the best version of myself. And the only way I'm going to become the best version of myself is if I fucking show up every day and get the work done. Put in that investment in myself, put in that effort. There's no shortcuts here, right? वो कोई मैजिक पिल, कोई मैजिक सप्लीमेंट दुनिया में एग्जिस्ट नहीं करता. हाँ, मैंने पिल खा लिया, आई एम नाउ जैक्ड, आई एम लाइक अ सुपरमैन, आई एम लाइक द बेस्ट एंड्योरेंस एथलीट इन द वर्ल्ड. ऐसा पिल होता ना तो दुनिया में एक भी फैट बंदा नहीं होता, दुनिया में
और
एक भी
jacked
स्लो
होने की
बंदा
वैल्यू
नहीं
नहीं होती.
होता. Huh. Everyone would be jacked. Everyone would be
हाँ.
fast. Everyone would be freaking Superman if that magic
हाँ.
pill existed, right? It doesn't. That
Exactly.
magic pill is consistency, discipline, patience. Put in the work. Don't
Pain.
half-ass things. So, bus. Um,
I think
pain.
pain is
I I think I have a little different, take
stance.
on pain. Again, kind of, going back to the YouTube and the Instagram world where they have this stuff, which says no pain, no gain. Okay, I kind of, don't believe in that sense, that no pain, no gain, because then it kind of, gets people on a track where, oh, like, for example, translating it into a kind of a workout scenario. If you are having a pain in the workout, stop the workout. Go the fuck home and rest and recover.
Rest. हाँ.
Don't want to kind of work out through your pain, right? Sure, if you have some amount of soreness and you have to work out through the soreness, that is okay, but not through pain. Pain leads to injuries, and then that is going to cause you to not be consistent and disciplined.
Yeah. I
kind of,
actually meant pain in the psychological sense. मतलब ये तो like I can also understand. मतलब मैं भी थोड़ा बहुत जिम गया हूँ तो मुझे पता है कि physically workouts में pain नहीं आनी चाहिए. But what I really meant was वो जो सुबह उठ के like I think the most difficult part about going to the gym is stepping into the gym. मतलब I knew कि I know कि मेरा gym मेरे घर से 10 कदम की दूरी पे है. The toughest part for me every day was when I used to go to the gym was अपने बिस्तर से उठना. And I think that's a pain that you need to take. और मतलब अच्छा खाना खाने का पेन और वो पार्टीज में जाके वो खराब खाना बहुत टाइम तक नहीं खाना, वो I think I really meant pain in that sense. If I might be wrong, but I meant that.
I would not call it pain. I would kind of call it potentially some discomfort.
Okay.
I think pain is next level. I think pain, both psychological pain and physical pain, is next level. It's
Have
not that trivial as we
have you
think.
experienced that pain? I mean, on your journey.
Through some injuries, yes. Psychological pain, I would not say, not really. I have never gotten to that point. For me, maybe I think probably the most difficult part, maybe I don't know if I would categorize it as psychological pain, but when I went on my journey to build mental fitness, sometime in 2013 on one of the expeditions, I climbed a mountain and I did really, really, really well on that mountain. And I came home and I don't know what happened, but out of the blue, I got hit by insane amounts of homesickness. I got so badly homesick that I, like cried for a couple of nights, and this had never happened to me. It's as if, out of the blue, it came and hit me. And on the third day, I went to my expedition leader and I kind of made an excuse. I said, "Look, I think that next mountain looks like really dangerous. There's some risk on that mountain. I'm going to cancel it and I'm going to go home." And I actually came home. I canceled that mountain and I came home due to homesickness. When I came home and I kind of then look, I do a postmortem of all kind of expeditions. May it be successful, may it not be successful. I'll always look back upon them as kind of what I can learn from them. So I look back upon the expedition and I realized, man, you know what? I have to climb to the top of Everest. I can no longer get homesick. This was a 20-day expedition and I got homesick. And Everest is going to be 3 times more, 50 times more difficult. I am going to be miserable and I'm going to be suffering through Everest all the time. And if I get homesick, I'm definitely coming home. And I remember almost from late 2013, potentially all the way up to 2016 or even early 2017, on purpose, I detached myself from my family altogether. While we were living in the same home and we were physically together, emotionally, I was just in my bubble, living in my zone, not connected to anyone, friends, family, extended family, immediate family, wife, no one. Just me and one more relationship with Everest. बस सिंगल माइंडेड फोकस के साथ मैंने अगले 3 साल निकाले हैं. And I still remember coming back from Everest summit in June of 2016 and realizing यार लाइफ में कुछ बचा ही नहीं अभी. साला गोल खत्म हो गया. एक साइड पे no relationship with family, no relationship with anyone. Like for first time in my life I felt empty. Like लोगों को है ना लग उंगलियां कटती है, पैर की उंगलियां कटती है, हाथ की उंगलियां कटती है, लंग इन्फेक्शन होते हैं, ब्रेन इन्फेक्शन होते हैं, फ्रैक्चर्स होते हैं, डेथ होता है, टन्स ऑफ ट्रॉमा होता है उनको एवरेस्ट पे. बट आई थिंक potentially what I think a lot of people ask me what was the sacrifice or what was the kind of downside of climbing Everest in some sense for me. And I think it has to be this kind of living these years and then kind of coming home and just kind of seeing my entire world crash down in front of me and not being able to cope up with it, and just going through this time. Again, I would not call it pain because it is kind of trivializing pain. I didn't have to climb Everest, right? I mean, I didn't have to do any of this stuff. It's almost like मैंने खुद पे मैं लेके आया ये सब. So it's kind of I don't want to compare this to someone's real pain or someone's real trauma that they went through in their life. I don't want to compare it to that because it was not that. But so bas, I think this was like a tough time in some sense. But believe me, I never ever had to force myself off the bed to go to do anything. For me, everything naturally came throughout these 10 years because I was obsessed about my dream.
It was like you were made for this. I mean, as Hulk says, like Hulk said in Endgame, it was like I was made for this.
I don't know. I don't believe in those things, but there is this very thin line between obsession and insanity. And I always kind of was between that line somewhere, but I didn't have to really to become consistent and disciplined. I didn't have to work hard. It just naturally came, and I just kept doing it because I loved every morning when I woke up. No one had to force me, Kuntal, trek pe jao. Those treks were physically very painful to me in the first 2 years, but no one had to force me to go. No one had to force me to do anything. to force me to go through such a painful 3 years ka detachment from my family. No one had to ask me to do that, and I was able to do it relatively without a lot of hard work in that sense. So that effort to become consistent and disciplined, I think for me is attached directly to my dream. But as I said, as I kind of shifted my dreams to be completely different, in the sense my dream now is just becoming the best version of myself. So I'm no
What
longer
does
attached
like
to goals like
what does that best version look like? I'm sorry, I cut you off, but
it will
please
always be a
complete. Please
work in
complete.
progress, right?
Yeah, please complete. What were you
No,
saying?
so I will kind of answer that question where
Uh,
what is the best version of myself? I don't know. I don't know what potential my body holds, what potential my mind holds, and I want to go on multiple of these journeys so that I can potentially try and unlock this potential and kind of create the best version of myself. And as I said, that best version of myself will always be a work in progress. It is the journey of life in some sense.
yeah,
So I think till the end of my life I will not figure out कि वो best version क्या है,
yeah.
because
I
I'll be
mean,
building it.
yeah. That really reminds me what Jordan Peterson says. Jordan Peterson is a clinical psychologist in America.
Okay.
So what he really says, like he's really like respected in the academic and the political circles. And what he really says is that your life. He has the theory of archetypes, where he says that yeah, our life is a story, and we are the like basically that's also a Jungian idea. Carl Jung was a student of Freud who built on his story, and basically the theory was like you're the hero of your story, and you go along, and he inherently says that your life is a game, and if you pick the games that are below your skill level, you really get bored. If you if you go over like a lot, if your goals are very if your games are very tougher than what your skill levels are, then you will be resenting, and you'll get malevolent and all that. But if the game that you're playing, it's just above your skill level, that's when you'll enjoy playing the game. And he also says that when we give our lives meaning, it's essentially a beautiful lie that we're telling ourselves. And that's what that gives me some vibes of it, where he said that I want to become the best version of myself, and I know that I cannot become that, but I'll still strive towards it, and I'll still, like, even when I go
Yeah.
through my end of life, my
Chase
being
progress,
the
not
best.
perfection.
Yeah, yeah, that's what he said, कि
And
best version of myself बनना है, पर पता है कभी बन नहीं सकते. And that's like the
नहीं
beautiful
बन
lie
सकते.
that you've told yourself, and that's what's
Yep,
key.
yep. And but वो जो skill वाला था, बॉस
Uh-huh.
एवरेस्ट मेरे स्किल के कोई लेवल से मैचिंग नहीं था.
That
So
uh-huh.
I think all these theories are great, but please
Uh-huh.
always make yourself n equal to 1 experiment and apply
Uh-huh.
everything on yourself.
I agree.
Don't sell yourself short in anything. If something is much beyond your capability, या ट्राई भी नहीं करोगे तो पता कैसे चलने वाला है कि वो होगा या नहीं होगा.
हाँ
ट्राई
नहीं
करके
but
पता चला कि नहीं होने वाला है,
हाँ हाँ
तो एटलीस्ट तुमने ट्राई तो किया. Otherwise,
रिग्रेट नहीं
answer will
रहता.
always be no for everything that you don't try in life.
I agree. I agree, man. I mean, वो मतलब I think that's what I also like tell people that talk to me, क्योंकि मतलब I've done मतलब वो पता नहीं वो मैं so like I run a podcast, so people and I talk about ideas and stuff, so people think that they can ask me stuff like this, and they do. I mean, I'm happy to answer, but that's what I also tell them कि just go for it, experiment करो जाओ. मतलब I always think of it as a game of stakes. Like stakes, क्या क्या चला जाएगा अगर कर दिया तो मतलब आई मीन जब तक फॉर यू मतलब तो एवरेस्ट जब तक चढ़ नहीं गए, मतलब एवरेस्ट पे जाके कुछ नहीं हुआ, उससे पहले तो इट्स बिल्डिंग योर सेल्फ, राइट? तो आई थिंक दैट
Right.
एक्सपेरिमेंटल वाली चीज इज अ लॉट. पर टेल मी दिस, when you see some मतलब, so I remember Ranveer asking you this question on his show, that when you see a lot of deaths, you have a perspective around death. But let me twist that. And from a couple of deaths that I have seen in my life, I think it gives you a very different perspective on life as well. And I think you you see the things in life in a very different way as others see it, and you also kind of get. I think it makes you. I don't know how to word it, but it makes you less vulnerable to the other to other small issues in life. I mean, I think it makes you a bit more, let's just say, streamlined in your life, where where when you s- where when you see something that's going wrong, I think you really try. पता नहीं, ऐसा लगता है कि ठीक है, लेट्स सी द, मतलब वो सेंस ऑफ अर्जेंसी और वो सेंस ऑफ एक्साइटमेंट, उस मतलब नेगेटिव एक्साइटमेंट वो कम हो जाता है, आई थिंक, towards the bad happenings in life. Do you agree? Or
Mm, I think in terms of death, I think multiple things, kind of multiple perspectives. A look, I before climbing Everest, I had thought about this, and I had read so many people dying on Everest, and my family being worried about these things and everything. So before going in, I knew that death is a definite possibility here. But something that I even said on the Ranveer show is that that should not stop me from pursuing my dreams.
hmm,
यार, like that cannot stop me from pursuing my dreams. So उस attitude के साथ मैं अंदर गया, ठीक है.
hmm,
And initially तो मुझे कुछ पता नहीं था क्या होने वाला है. Then I saw whole bunch of things, and I got lucky multiple times, didn't die multiple times, and I still remember. I think the bigger shift in how I view death and in how I view life happened in 2015 when I saw death right in front of me, and that snow and ice ka jo avalanche, which I call the snow tsunami,
hmm,
that we saw in front of us, and that I knew that I was going to die, but to kind
hmm,
of escape death and then kind of stay alive beyond that point. uh, I think I just believe that life is a second chance for me, and बहुत कम लोगों को second chances मिलते हैं, वो भी इतने बड़े second chance बहुत ही कम लोगों को मिलते हैं.
हाँ,
And that I can no longer be half-assing this extra bonus life that I have gotten. Right? Because
hmm,
I was 35, I saw the avalanche. I told my prayers. I was ready to die. I was ready to kind of, I had accepted मरने वाला हूँ, अभी हो गया, done. My life is ended here. But to be alive after that, I think for me every day is a bonus. Every day is a
hmm,
bonus filled with tons of gratitude. But also every day I have to live it to the fullest, do justice. And again, something that I said on Ranveer's show is that it would be an insult if I don't lead this life to the fullest. And whenever people, yeah, we are
hmm,
just speaking over our own laptop Zoom call. We are
yeah,
clearly privileged people, right? We don't have to think about food on our table, roof on our head, clothing on our body. There are millions of people across India who today have to kind of work to just find that next meal where it is coming from. So
hmm,
given the fact that I'm privileged, और फिर भी मैं मेरी लाइफ वेस्ट कर रहा हूँ और मैं मेरे ड्रीम्स को चेस नहीं कर रहा हूँ, जब भी मेरे पास अपॉर्चुनिटी है सब कुछ चेस करने के लिए, जिनके पास
hmm,
नहीं है दे आर डाइंग फॉर दैट अपॉर्चुनिटी, एंड जिसके पास है वो वेस्ट कर रहा है पूरा बैठ के. सो
hmm,
आई एम नॉट सेइंग कि मैं वेस्ट करता था, बट फॉर मी इट
hmm,
काइंड ऑफ पुट मी इन दैट माइंडसेट. बट आई थिंक एट द एंड ऑफ द डे कैसा होता है कि वी ऑल थिंक दैट हम कंट्रोल कर रहे हैं अपने फ्यूचर को, दैट हम
hmm,
कंट्रोल कर रहे हैं कि हमारी डेथ कभी होने वाली है. यार पहले तो
hmm.
हमारे कंट्रोल में कुछ भी नहीं है. ये फॉल्स बिलीफ एंड फॉल्स सेंस ऑफ कंट्रोल जो हम लेके
Yeah.
बैठे हैं ना, आई थिंक हमें पहले वो साइड में रखने की बहुत
तो
जरूरत है.
दिमाग
तो
भी कंट्रोल में
फॉर
नहीं है,
मी,
मतलब 95% ऑफ द एक्शंस यू टेक इन योर डे आर लिटरली गिवन बाय योर सबकॉन्शियस माइंड. तो तुम तो ये भी छोड़ दो कि तुम्हारा दिमाग तुम्हारे कंट्रोल में है. वी स्टार्टेड आउट वेयर हमको लगता था कि हम पूरे सोलर सिस्टम के बीच में हैं, जहाँ पे सब कुछ हमारे अराउंड घूमता है. फिर धीरे धीरे साइंटिफिक एडवांसमेंट जो है, और अब तुम अपने दिमाग के भी राजा नहीं हो. तो या प्लीज कंटिन्यू.
राइट, राइट. सो I feel for me, when I climbed Everest or when I'm in these situations, and then I know that I don't control what's going to happen to me inside this. Uh, I kind of, am also able to easily surrender to the mountains and kind of let go of that control. Uh, and doesn't mean I'm keeping my brain on the side and walking in the mountains. I'm still, using my skill. I'm still being alert. I'm still, being situationally aware and all of those things. But kind of a control गिव अप करने का या कंट्रोल लेट गो करने का अपने लाइफ से वो एक सीखा एंड दैट आल्सो काइंड ऑफ अप्लाइज टू डेथ इन सम सेंस I don't know. I don't know what to say, but in some weird way, I no longer. I would not say I don't fear death or anything. I'm not reckless or anything. So ऐसा नहीं कि मैं कोई suicide wish है मेरी या कोई death wish है जिसके लिए मैं mountain पे जा रहा हूँ. But in some form, like if people are dying around me, yes, I'm sad about it, but I also know that it is the reality of life. तो kind of वो acceptance बहुत अभी आ गया है, and that and this happened when my dad passed away. I was super sad because he was my hero and I truly loved him, but that acceptance came very naturally to a point where I said, like, look, he lived a great life. He did what he wanted to. He pursued his dreams. He imbibed that mindset into me. I think I should be celebrating his life. He lived and he died. Maybe जीने वाला हूँ, maybe मरने वाला हूँ. He went with a good legacy. People remember him, and I hope people will remember me also. And if they don't, it's okay. So that's kind of my mindset about death. अभी लोग है ना बहुत कंट्रोल या बहुत लगे हुए इस चीज में. I am no longer that fascinated, or I don't think about death in that sense anymore. People have philosophical discussions about that. I'm no longer fascinated. I'm no longer intrigued. Whenever it comes, it comes. I'm not going to let its fear, not let it do anything differently in my life. Death is not something that drives me. Life is what drives me.
Yeah, I think seeing something like death, it gives you more clarity, and you literally look at life as how it is. I mean, as you said that there are people literally who are dying to get what I have, and so I must use it fully and to my dreams. Like, I mean, that's how I kind of look at it. My view, like, I'm still 19, so my view is still a bit nihilistic, where I say that none of it matters. जो करना है करो, मतलब अब पता ही है कि ऐसा होने वाला है. So I mean, it's a lot more nihilistic in that sense. But I think I get what you say. I mean, it gives you a lot more clarity. It's like the clouds of the clouds of fantasy are removed from in front of your eyes, that I think that stay in front of your eyes throughout your childhood when you see something as natural as death. So yeah, man, I agree. So I've heard you say this multiple times, that when you saw when you were at the summit of Everest, and those 20 minutes that you spent on the peak, that was a very different feeling. And that's why you also tried climbing, like you also climbed Everest for the second time, but you didn't get that feeling. What do you think that feeling was? And do you think that after you've climbed the Everest for the first time, do you think that every time you now go and climb another mountain, is it that feeling that you're chasing, or is it something else, or is it still is it still the climbing part of it, or is it those 20 minutes that you're chasing?
No, I'm not chasing those 20 minutes at all. I am instead chasing the 60-day journey, because I truly enjoy the journey, because I truly love the journey, because I truly, all the transformation that happens to me is in the journey. And I love climbing. I love being in the mountains. I love my camaraderie, my relationship with my Sherpa guide Mingma, and I just enjoy climbing mountains. So of course, everyone wants to get to the top, and that was the biggest dream of my life. So I got to the top for the first time, and those 20 minutes were absolutely the most magical 20 minutes, and nothing I think wrong about it. I loved those 20 minutes. The feeling was great. It was, I can't explain in words. Everyone asks me what that feeling, feels like. I can't explain in words until you feel what I felt, until you
Hmm.
potentially, achieve the biggest dream of your life. Maybe that's when, you'll feel, Are, हाँ, ऐसा Kuntal जैसा, maybe that's how I'm feeling now. I don't know. It's just difficult to put down in, few words. Magical, awesome, this, that. Oh, okay, great. These are
Do
all
you
just
think it
words.
changed you forever? I mean, do you think that जो कुंतल जो चढ़ like जिसने 8 साल ट्रेनिंग करी and वो summit पे चढ़ के गया, वो 20 मिनट बाद there was a different Kuntal that came out, or was it something like just a one-off thing?
आई थिंक वो जब 20 मिनट के बाद कुंतल नीचे उतरा, उस कुंतल को बनाने में ही वो 8 साल लगे थे ना. तो ऐसा कोई 20 मिनट के बाद, वो 20 मिनट में कुछ नहीं हुआ जिसने वो कुंतल को बदल दिया. वो 8 साल में हुआ, उसने कुंतल को बदल दिया. So which is why I am more in love with the 8 saal rather than the 20 minute. That 20 minute is like, sure, the exhilaration that was there will be unparalleled. But the eight years that took to get there will always, take be the main thing. And I'm not chasing that feeling when I'm going on other climbs, or I'm not even climbing. I'm just doing other things. So I'm not chasing. I'm still chasing potentially a state of mind, and I'm chasing, just the concept of becoming the best, or, trying to unlock the best in myself. So that's what I'm, chasing at the end of the day. But no, and I don't know what I'm going to feel on top of the next mountain I climb. What I know for sure is that if it's a small day trip in the Sahyadri, or if it's a 10-day trip in the Himalaya, or if it's a 60-day climb on Everest, anytime I am in the mountain, I feel I am at home. I
Yeah.
feel I am where I truly, truly belong.
Would you like to
And
die in the
it
mountains?
doesn't
You know,
matter to
अगर
me.
अगर अगर like if I were to say
Would I
कि आप
like to die in the
peacefully,
mountains?
बहुत ही peacefully अपनी जिंदगी, you would like to end your life at the mountains. I'm sorry, that's like if that's like
I don't control my own death in any way. So
if you were to
uh,
choose, where you'd like to die, where would you like to, if you like to spend
I
your
can't,
last
again.
moments there?
I don't want to get into a hypothetical, of choosing my death. But I would say that if and whenever I die, I hope my family will, take my ashes and potentially put it somewhere on the mountains. Again, very symbolically, I don't
Hmm.
believe in rebirths. I don't believe in next lives. I don't believe in any of that stuff. But अगर मेरा थोड़ा part mountain में रह जाएगा, then that's, I'll be satisfied knowing that. But yeah, do I want to die in the mountain? I have no clue. जब आएगा तभी आएगा. If I'll be in the mountain, great. If I will be with my family, still great. Not going to choose how am I going to die.
I mean, yeah, that really was वो like okay, with your family in the mountains. How does that look like?
As I said, I'm not choosing. जब होगा तभी होगा.
Well, like I really, I mean, yeah, I think I get it. वो मतलब वो ऐसे as you said ना कि इतना it doesn't feel as you said कि उतना fascinating concept नहीं है of death to you. I mean, when you said कि
Yeah, नहीं है.
because to
ऐसे
people it is.
I'm going to die, right? I'm
हाँ.
going to die. It's done. मैं कहीं भी हो, I'm going to die. It's going to end. There's nothing beyond that. So it's not as if I'm going to be in the mountains, it's going to be a better process. It's okay. I'm, as I said, I'm not that fascinated. Or people are like overthinking death so much. People should focus on their life rather than focusing on death so much.
Do you believe in God?
I don't know.
Okay, I mean because I think the imagery you paint a lot like for the mountains a lot of the times it's on the line of people painting the image of God, where they said that okay, the mountain
Yes.
allowed
So
me.
mountain allowed me. I'm, I don't want to animate mountains. I don't want to give them human characteristics.
Yeah.
At the same time, it is something, kind of, I respect mountains, and I kind of want others to also respect mountains. So that's why I kind of, I paint that imagery. But otherwise, for me, mountains are, nature is, trees are, birds are,
Yeah.
everything, it just is. I'm not trying to say, oh, nature is some weird energy, and this, that, and stuff that has no evidence, stuff that has no scientific backing. I'm not going to believe in any of that stuff. I don't
Yeah.
believe in that invisible man in the sky. Sorry,
Yeah.
I just don't.
I agree, man. I mean, I think along the same lines as you, because if I see something like this, even if I, it's like when you see the mountains, when you see the nature. Like I've been in the jungles a lot. I've went to a lot of safaris, and it's always so majestic to look at an animal like a tiger or an elephant. It's like you realize in a very logical, but it's still divine, where it's not godly, but you realize that you are nothing, first of all. And it just humbles you to a point where तुम अपने आप को तोप समझना बंद कर देते हो. And I think,
Right, and imagine gazillions and gazillions of galaxies, and potentially, as far as we know, the only planet with life. uh, I, I I think we just need to be grateful, that we get to witness all this. And, like, we just need to stop kind of attaching that to some, person who, is controlling everyone and controlling
I
everyone's destiny, and hearing prayers, and answering prayers, and, giving floods and giving cancer to someone. And we just need to move away from that, terrible concepts, and, just kind of
yeah,
see as it is.
I think like
Anyway,
I,
anyway, at the end of the day, to each their own. I
yeah,
am
I
not,
mean,
kind of, going to cam.
हाँ,
I'm not going to tell anyone कि यार तुम मत believe करो. I don't
हाँ,
believe.
हाँ,
I'm happy with that. बस खत्म यार.
yeah.
तुम्हें जो believe कर रहा है तुम करो.
Obviously, I mean, yeah, I think what really went, I would not say wrong with religion. Maybe that's what went wrong. It was like, we know that the truth is that we are so small in this big universe, like as we talked about before. And that truth is so hard to process for a human being, that we used a derivative for that truth, where we put God in there and told
Yep.
people, okay, look at this imagery. This is this is very big. This is bigger than you. This is the highest moral standard, because eventually, what is God? It's the highest moral standards that you can put on a person, and then say that this is the man. As in,
It's
like,
not even moral standards. Look at the moral standards. Terrible.
yeah,
Look at some of the books. Look at some.
I mean,
I mean,
it started
terrible.
as
I would
that.
not even. I think most moral standards of so many gods are so horrendous. I would not even like
Obviously,
employ them with my in my job. I mean, in my
that's
company or something. It's that
हाँ, मतलब
bad.
that was like traditions that didn't get updated. I mean, वो जिसे राम को ही कहते थे मर्यादा पुरुषोत्तम. It's like, we look at this person. This is the person who has the highest moral standards. You have to be like him. That's the derivative that we put, that we use. But instead, eventually, what people fall for is not it's for the derivative, is for the derivative and not for the truth. It's like, eventually, while
Anyway,
looking at God, we forgot that the truth exists. When looking at the derivative, we forgot that the truth exists. So I think it's that.
yeah.
Am I keeping you for too long? Because I think I just had I had
No,
one more
no.
thing to cover.
Sure. Let's do that.
Sure. So I heard you on Ranveer's show, where you discussed the that how what it really takes in monetarily to climb Everest. And I might be wrong here, but I feel like, as you said, कि वो इतना ज़्यादा एक तो monetarily है कि 30, 40, 50 लाख लगता ही है. And
Right.
you said कि बहुत भीड़ भी होती है वहाँ पे. So
Right.
I don't know. I see it as getting really touristy. It's like in the future. I mean, जहाँ पे कोई भी बंदा 1-2 करोड़ दे के they can just go on Everest. And वो होता है ना कि eventually, how would I say it? जैसे जब जंगलों में जाने के लिए वो सारी कॉर्पोरेट सुविधा आ गई, where you can just use take a guide and go into the jungle. तब it's like the divinity of jungles. It kind of got reduced. So do you think that that can happen with Everest as well?
I think everyone kind of looks at their own experiences differently. तो मेरे लिए काफी सारे शो, और जो मैं छोटे छोटे ट्रैक पे भी जाता था, and those treks are today crowded. Do I think that place has become less divine? Heck no. I don't really care if those people are there. Most of the time when I am climbing on a mountain, I am so easily able to just like visually मैं उन सबको गायब कर सकता हूँ मेरे नजरिए से, और मैं ऐसे चढ़ सकता हूँ कि मैं अकेला चढ़ रहा हूँ उस माउंटेन को. So I think, look, commercialization is unfortunately the reality, and most, and if people want to climb Everest, like what I climbed Everest, I wanted to do it as my dream. And then if someone wants to climb Everest, no, you should not go because it's commercial. नहीं यार, मैं उसमें बिलीव नहीं करता हूँ. आई थिंक अगर लोगों को जाना है, उनको क्लाइम करना है, दे कैन डू इट. आई जस्ट विश्ड they took care of the mountain, they cleaned the mountain, and they did whatever they could to kind of leave it in the way it was before they got there. So I would kind of hope that वो लोग वो सब करे. But again, I'm not going to kind of say that commercialization is necessarily good or necessarily bad. मैं उस एंगल से उसको देखता ही नहीं हूँ. जिस while I would hope that there is some more responsible and accountability that kind of happens, so that as more people go visit these places, things are kind of taken care of. But otherwise, just because every year more and more people are visiting Everest, suddenly it's going to not become Everest? I don't think so. Not for me, at least.
I think the dream of Everest is, it's like very very personal to you right from the start, where you said कि ये मेरा
Right.
dream है. मतलब क्योंकि I believe कि जब when you started out on this journey of trying and climbing Everest, there would be a shit ton of people around you telling you that Kuntal, this is not logical. You're not doing the right thing. It's just an obsession.
Right. Right.
But you said कि you never needed a push to get out of your bed every morning, and that's how I feel that this dream to you, it's very personal. It's a very private game that you just play with yourself.
Right. And look, people a lot of times reach out to me and they criticize stuff like, अरे तुम तो शेरपा के साथ गए, अरे तुम तो कोई climber नहीं हो, तुम तो tourist हो. And a lot of people will say a lot of crap online. And look, please understand, I'm not like any top mountaineer or anything. But also, please understand, it was my personal journey, as you pointed out, right? For me, the journey started from literally from being a non-zero mountaineer, zero fitness, unhealthy, obese software engineer, to going on a very life-transforming journey to get to the top of Everest. So for me, it was not about a style of climbing Everest that, oh, I'm going to climb in the best possible style. I'm going to climb without any support. I'm going to find a new route on the mountain. I'm going to, get to the top in the fashion that no one has ever done before. मेरे लिए वो सब मायने नहीं रखता था. मेरे लिए मेरी जर्नी मायने रखती थी. And that's why, when such people say such things, it doesn't kind of impact me. I'm like, ठीक है, तुम लोग समझ नहीं रहे हो. जब तुम अपने एवरेस्ट पे जाओगे तभी तुम्हें सब आइडिया आएगा ये सब चीजों का. तभी तक you can be keyboard warriors.
Exactly. I mean, even for me, I think the 8 years that you spent training, that was like, I consider it more of an achievement than climbing Everest, because as you said now, कि you're literally the last person. Am I frozen? Was I audible?
Yeah, you were a little frozen. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So what I was saying that
a little bit. Yeah.
So I was saying that I think what was more fascinating for me was the 8 years that you put in, because I think
Right.
for me, but personally for me, that was more fascinating, because as I said in earlier as well, that you were really not in the best position to go and climb Everest when you thought about it. Because, and something like Everest, even if you are in the best position to climb Everest, there's still a very big chance that you might go wrong and you might die. And
Right.
where I noticed that from there, you literally put in 8 years and then went and climbed Everest. I think that was commendable. And at this point, my questions are all over. If you have any questions for me, I would be very happy to answer, or else we can just end this here.
No, I'm good. Just best of luck to you for your journey and for your studies and for everything. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I'll definitely see you. You're based in Mumbai, right? I'll definitely
Indeed.
uh, see you there when I'm here. Actually, host another podcast for my college. It's called Table
Okay.
Talk with TLC. And when we get to
Okay.
college, I'll definitely host you at NMIMS campus. So and
Perfect.
again, like ending this, seeing a person like you, I think there are a lot more things that I need to sort of ask you that I couldn't right now, and we'll definitely do more of these. Thank you so much for doing this.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
If there's something that has been bothering you since a long time, something that does not seem to go away no matter how hard you try, I think you should try therapy. And in these times when going out is not your best option, then remote therapy from highly qualified and experienced clinical psychologists is what you need. Log on to www.mentep.com and start your journey towards a better headspace today. Again, that is www.mentep.com. Start your journey towards a better headspace.